Chapter 11. A Most Magical Twist. It was in the end of May that Crystal really dug deep into her ancestry. She had made a breakthrough previously by researching a great-grandfather she hadn't paid any attention to when she learned about her connection to John Galt. She reasoned, it is because our society went through a long phase where the women didn't matter as much as the men. Seldom were their birth dates or maiden names listed in history. Then a backlash occurred during the rise of feminism and broken families. The majority of mothers had full custody of their children, and the man's role in a family and in a child's life became unimportant and optional. For the last 2 or 3 generations, women became the matriarchs of the family wielding most control. Happy wife, happy life, right? This time the breakthrough was in the 1700s. By following the lineage of a great-grandmother, Crystal's family line traveled back to Edward I Longshanks, King of England. He had been on a crusade with his wife when their daughter was born, in Acre, Jerusalem. She was raised by her grandmother until her passing, then reunited with her parents in England. Her father had already arranged a marriage for her. She did her duty as princess and married, but her husband died. She fell in love with her squire and had the king knight him. Then she secretly married him, but had to confess when her father arranged her next betrothal. Her new husband was jailed and required the intervention of a bishop for his release. While this was a beautiful love story, Crystal knew who King Edward I Longshanks was. She was of the Barclay clan on her father's side. The film Braveheart was one of her father's favorite films. Although her mother shielded her from the world, her father used movies as teaching moments. Rambo, Die Hard, Rob Roy, The People vs. Larry Flint. There was no age restriction to the life lessons in his mind. Mel Gibson portrayed the character of William Wallace in Braveheart, a brave Scotsman that fought for freedom against the tyranny of King Edward I. Crystal had seen the brutal treatment of William, so many times the scenes were burned in her memory. She couldn't stop crying for a day and a half. That's the problem when you feel very strongly about something. The thoughts can be blocked and continue to hit wave after wave. It wasn't until after Erasmus had held her in bed for an hour that she was able to eat something. Within all bad is some good, and Crystal found the lesson to be learned. She reached out to Mel Gibson. If there was anyone that would appreciate this, it would be him. While this may sound odd to some people, Crystal had made a regular habit of sending emails or messages to individuals she believed could help make the world a better place. Recently, she was sharing her public housing proposal with those whose interests aligned with sustainable living. There were others as well that would be needed to create these sustainable sanctuaries. She now spoke with absolute certainty of what the future held. Her daughter asked her how she could be so certain, and Crystal reasoned, when you add heat to water, you know it will eventually boil. It's the law of cause and effect. The water may still be cold, but over time, it will get warm. She was daily adding energy to the collective and knew that at some point, something would happen. It did. Mel Gibson wrote Crystal back. Just like that, her faith was made manifest into reality. People do care. It was beyond comprehensible how excited she was over the course of the next few days. Occasionally, she would receive encouraging messages from Chantra Seba and Mel Gibson. They say God works through people, and Crystal now had some encouraging people supporting her. She reached out to friends through Facebook and LinkedIn, sharing a video she made of her story how roots have no borders. That in itself was a feat, as Crystal had never made and posted a video talking to the camera. Erasmus helped her. They did it in one take with no practice. Small errors were made, but overall a joyful success. She messaged friends in various countries around the world asking if her public land policy could be implemented in their country. She started to receive responses that showed a wide variety of perspectives from different social statuses around the world. A gentleman in Namibia who was a self-employed guide, true indigenous person of the land, shared his dreams if he could have a few acres. If I could own one here, a farm, I would really appreciate and do game farm, where people come, do game drives, watching birds, and exploring the abundance of wildlife. Unfortunately, the most fertile land in Namibia is mostly owned by the farmers of German descent, as Namibia was colonized and experienced the first genocide in 1904 to 1908. Since then, individual farmers can own upwards of 40,000 acres. A documentary, Namibia, A Country Divided, shows how some of these lands are used to raise Arabian racehorses, and the locals cannot visit the graves of their ancestors without permission, prior notice, payment, and someone watching. A homeowner in Calgary, Alberta, Canada, had this to say about the proposal. Very well written. When Trudeau decided to allow 42,000 people to come to Alberta, it really messed up our healthcare, jobs, and housing. There was no preparation on the government's part to house the newcomers besides everything else. Now Toronto and Vancouver people are moving to Calgary for investments. Rent is over the wall, and housing skyrocketed. Calgary people who have lived here forever are not impressed. Surprisingly, she showed no concern over the value of her own home investment changing in any way, and cared more for the well-being of the individuals who resided in her city before the overpopulation flux. Crystal wrote Dr. Jordan Peterson, asking if he could create a test that could judge the empathy of an individual. It was reasoned that if sustainable sanctuaries were to be safe places that encouraged life and growth, there couldn't be any predators. If people were going to live in harmony with nature and each other, there was a necessary empathetic respect for life. It can be taught, so education programs would be necessary for the individuals who didn't have enough empathy. Crystal wrote the Canadian Armed Forces and Department of Natural Defense. It was reasoned that the wilderness has dangers and the people would need help, protection, and education. The military had thousands of personnel, both on active duty and on reserves. They also had thousands of personnel in need of help, both mentally needing healing and a purpose, and physically needing homes. Could they not assist with a large-scale effort to build sustainable eco-villages? Could they not help teach people how to protect themselves? Crystal reasoned this is why the Shell Lake massacre was permanently frozen in her mind. It was why people needed to be able to protect themselves. Sometimes people have sick minds and want to harm others, and there is no time for authority to help. These people needed physical help before being able to address their mental issues. Crystal wrote to her old economist friend, Larry Smith. He's the first inspirational TED Talk presenter that ever touched Crystal's soul and spurred her forward in her actions. Why you will fail to have a great career. His email had read, Crystal, thank you for telling me that the TED video was of such value to you. That was the plan. But only the viewers can make it happen. You give me reason in my 42nd year as a faculty member to continue my work. I salute your accomplishments at Okanagan, and I wish you continued success. Again, apologies for the delay. Larry Smith, founder and senior researcher, The Problem Lab. Adjunct Associate Professor, Department of Economics, Arts, Conrad School of Entrepreneurship and Business Engineering, University of Waterloo. This was the most encouraging to Crystal, so she sent him an email with the public policy proposal to see if he could use his economic foresight to foresee how the policy would affect Canada's economy. As he once said, he's an economist. He does dismal. End of the day, it's time for dismal remarks. Good jobs are now disappearing. There are great jobs and great careers, and then there are the high workload, high stress, blood-sucking, soul-destroying kinds of jobs, and practically nothing in between. Crystal believed being a steward of the land offered an in-between job, the kind where people work hard physically to meet their needs and connect with nature to heal what truly was a costly historical error. Our ancestors may have taken a wrong turn because they too felt they had no other choice. The land needed to be healed from the damage that was done in the name of progress, and there was truly no greater job title than steward of the land. It meant people cared. They cared enough to try and live a sustainable life so all life on our planet could have a better, healthier future. Was it possible people would deny others the right to live freely due to possible economic outlooks? Could AI step up and automate the soul-sucking jobs currently available to mankind? Could people stop being entertained for a moment to listen and show empathy for the rest of the world? Crystal believed they could. She believed there were enough people that wanted to live in harmony with nature, each other, and themselves, that they would support a good policy. It was just a matter of time. She wrote her speech to the United Nations. Letter to all nations. Leaders of the United Nations, I stand before you as a citizen of Canada and a sister to the world. You have declared 2024 the year of living sustainably. You have asked the people to change their lifestyles to live in harmony with nature, because we only have a world. There is no planet B. Please help us follow these necessary changes by allowing a global implementation of a new Lands Act. Humans around the world need help to help themselves, and what we need is the opportunity to do so. Like any living organism, humans need food, water, shelter, and space to live. If given healthy food, clean water, warm shelter, and an optimistic, loving space, we will flourish. Unfortunately, our living organism that is humanity is being choked out by hate, anger, fear, and greed. Predators have multiplied beyond the carrying capacity of our planet, and there are not enough resources to sustain their insatiable need for economic growth. We are using twice the resources needed in a year. The overshoot day that the resources the planet can regenerate during a year come to an end is arriving earlier each year. We need to create circular economies, just like you said in your sustainable goals. The people that wish to follow the sustainable lifestyle goals of the United Nations need a safe place to do so. A sanctuary from predators where an individual can earn their right to live and farm the land with sustainable permaculture techniques. By caring for the land and being a steward of the land, we can teach future generations the importance of healthy soil and clean water. We can create sustainable communities that offer people a place to do what you are asking them to do. There is no land that is free, therefore we are not free. We have lost our free will to be able to choose between making the right choice of living sustainably or continue with the only available option. This change will only have a positive effect on urban centers, as the people who choose to leave will create more housing opportunities for the people who do wish to live there. Relieving overpopulation, creating a healthier living environment for everyone. In many countries, there isn't enough employment to keep every citizen busy working. By creating sustainable communities, this excess of unused labor could be used to help heal our planet. Reforestation projects, reversing desertification, and more. When people work for themselves and for the land on which they live, they become strong, independent, healthy people. With all the aid funding circulating globally, trying to reach the people at the end of the line that are actually in need, there is hope and opportunity to help people help themselves. We need land on which to grow food. We need clean water to drink and water our gardens. We need shelter to store food and live safely. Please help mobilize a global effort to help our planet and create sustainable sanctuaries for anyone who is willing to work for themselves and our planet. We only have a planet. Chapter 12.